Hey everybody, it's
Oh, yeah.
Kerry from Babs Food Warehouse and Michael. And what are we talking about today?
Gemstone treatments and disclosures.
All right. Do we need to disclose that to the people?
Well, only
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, you were telling
Only when
me.
you're talking about gemstones and jewelry. Ooh.
Okay. Well, we just have a brown. Let's see. Did we lose anything here? No, we're still recording.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, that's
That's
on a
still-
battery backup. We got battery backup systems.
okay.
So somewhat, and the Wi-Fi's on battery backup.
Nice.
So we may lose some lights.
Well, we
First
got
couple seconds we can video it.
we got our phone camera lights.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, like disclosure is a big thing in the jewelry industry because no one wants to buy.
What's the rules? What's the rules on disclosure?
You must disclose any. Well, so according to the FTC, and I'm reading this from the American Gem Trade Association Gemstone Information Manual, and I'm a member of AGTA, so I am bound by their rules.
It's a code of ethics that
Yeah.
they have in order to be there, and we do a lot with AGTA dealers
Right.
because of those ethics.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to be above board. You're not out to screw anybody. You're
Yeah.
ethical, moral, and doing things the right way. But according to the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, with the exception of normal fashioning, which means cutting and polishing of gemstones, it is the seller's responsibility at all levels of commerce, whether you're the one that mined the stone or you're the retail jeweler selling it to the public. You must disclose treatments to the buyer at the time of sale. And something, whether it's the natural gemstone or lab created, all information pertinent to any enhancement process done to the gemstone, whether the treatment's permanent, whether it has an effect on the value, whether that treatment needs special care. Because there are certain treatments that are not permanent and that are actually somewhat, I'm not going to say unstable,
Transient.
but yeah, temporary.
Yeah. So if it's a permanent treatment, it still has to be disclosed.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
and okay, and we won't get into lab grown and synthetics and that kind of stuff because that's kind of like
That's a whole
off to a
different topic.
tree
Right.
off of that.
Whole different topic.
Okay, so in this video, we're going to discuss the types of treatments that are out there, but we're not going to get specific, too specific, because we're going to do some more videos of specifics.
Yeah, we'll go into in-depth and photos and videos of the different enhancements.
Yeah,
And-
what they do and why they do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, what do you think is the oldest enhancement that was done?
Probably dying.
Dying, just standard all.
Yeah, I mean
dying.
they've been doing it since antiquity. I mean, look at the Egyptians. They're taking lapis lazuli and crushing it into a powder
and
and using
painting it
that
on
as a coloring agent.
Yeah, painting it on the Sistine Chapel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can do the same thing with they've been dyeing using beetles and bugs.
Yeah. So we've got dying.
So that's probably the oldest if I had to
Okay.
put a number on it.
What next in treatments?
Um,
Let's go with the easy ones first.
well, heating is old.
Heating.
They've been, again, that's another treatment they've been doing for hundreds.
A lot of
thousands
stones are
years.
heated.
A lot are, yeah. Sapphire is probably the most recognized, ruby and sapphire, corundum family. But you can heat most gemstones, whether or not they are receptive to that treatment. Not all are. There are definitely some that don't.
So
bother
you could have
to
two
heat.
sapphires, one receptive to heat and the other not receptive to
I
heat.
was more towards gemstone varieties.
Okay,
so
gemstone
sapphires
varieties.
and rubies definitely
Yeah.
take heat. Garnets known to be unaffected by heat.
Let's talk about one of the biggies, the cruise ship stone, tanzanite. Tanzanite doesn't come out of that ground anymore, that color, does it?
It can.
But
The percentage of natural blue tanzanite coming out of the ground is fairly low. So gem grade tanzanite, when it comes out of the ground, is usually greenish, brownish, yellowish, and they heat it to turn that gorgeous blue purple.
can
but
they
it-
tell?
No.
Okay, so you assume that all blue tanzanite has been heat treated.
Right. Whether heated in the ground by Mother Nature or heated by man.
Right, and it doesn't denigrate the value
Not at all.
because that is
It actually
just-
enhances the value.
yeah, well, yes, absolutely.
Now, I mean, if you have if you're sitting there and you pull a blue tanzanite crystal out of the ground, you can confidently say that this was not heated by man.
Yeah, but you had to be that person because there's a
Right.
liar between that person and everybody else.
Again, this is where the AGTA comes in with their, disclosure rules and the FTC with their disclosure rules. Sometimes it has an effect on the value, sometimes not. But it has to be clearly communicated that this stone is not as it was it came out of the ground.
Yeah, what it has an effect on is desirability.
There you go.
Because there's no point to any of this if there wasn't desirability.
Exactly.
Yeah, so even though something has been enhanced and it diminishes the value against something natural that looks alike to it, the enhancement has enhanced the value of the garbage. Sorry about that, guys. We had a little Debbie Downer problem there with the video, so we lost power. Okay, we're back.
All right.
So we kind of just talked quickly about heat treating. We did dyeing. We're talking about heat treating.
Yep.
It's some stones you can tell it's been heat treated, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there are telltale signs of it.
Right. A big one, for example, is powdery bitourmaline.
Okay, I didn't know that was heat treated.
Yes, most powdery bitourmalines people are familiar with are those bright kind of like Windexy blues.
Right.
Those are all heat treated.
Wow.
They very well, I can't say all, of course, but a huge majority, 95+% of powdery, but those Windexy blues are heat treated to turn that color. They usually come out of the ground purple or greenish, but yeah, those are heat treated to blue.
All right, so now we have dyed. Oh, by the way, dyed pearls.
Yeah, that's a big
huge.
One. Yeah,
absolutely huge. We have heat treated, and now it's been told to me you can heat treat white Edison pearls and it turns gold in color. I've been told that, but very secretive. This stuff is really secretive. I don't think you get a definitive answer on pearls.
What?
You can't get a definitive answer on the treatments, all the treatments, because they're experimenting on treatments on pearls all the time.
Oh yeah,
and most white pearls are bleached, right?
Yes, that's the when it comes to the pearl market, virtually every white pearl has been bleached.
Right.
Akoyas are famously done, and I've seen pictures of shelves, probably 6 shelves, total like 10 feet tall, and with like 3-gallon glass jars just full of pearls, and they're all being bleached.
That's got to be cool looking.
Oh, it's a nifty. I'll see if I can find the picture.
Yeah, I want that for my mantle. I don't have a mantle, but if I had a mantle, I want that on there.
Yeah,
with a giant clam next to it.
Well, hit up one of the auction houses for the giant clam.
Yeah, I've got that spiny oyster. I love that thing. All right, so we've got dye, heat. Next,
let's see, coating. Like you can
coating.
Yeah,
okay.
Topaz, for example, Mystic Topaz.
That's
a coating which
doesn't come out of the ground like that,
and it's certainly not permanent.
Yes.
Actually, you can scratch it with if you scratch it on something, you can take the coating off. Certain chemicals will take the coating right off.
Yeah, if you're treated, if you have a treated piece of jewelry, you want to inform the jeweler when you go in there.
Yes.
If you're getting it worked on, pronged, it doesn't matter what it is. The more information the jeweler knows, the less chance that he's going to mess it up.
Right.
Still a chance.
Yeah. Sometimes it's funny I say this, but a lot of times the person actually working on the jewelry has no idea what has been done or hasn't been done to the stone. All they know is working on the metal and how to set the
They know clean it thoroughly, which can destroy a lot of the problems. Do the work, get in and out as quick as can, even though it can continue to do problems, because that's all they're caring about. They got to do a certain amount of pieces or a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Your local jeweler, not so much, but if you bring it to, hang on for a second, I got to answer the phone here. We'll call.
Or not.
Yes, you're on video. Say hi to everybody. What's up? It's not doing anything. It's already heading north of us. And we're recording again.
Yeah. Back to coding.
Okay.
So yeah, like Mystic Topaz has been coded.
Okay.
Again, we were talking about the jewelers not knowing or really caring what stone or what they're working on.
Right.
They're just getting the job done.
Right.
So you as a consumer need to inform your jewelers that, hey, being cognizant of the fact that this is a coated stone, so no heat, no weird chemicals, or if you have what's another dyed, like dyed pearls, they can be ruined in certain chemicals.
Right.
jade actually can be coated.
Oh, I didn't know that. Jade can be coated. I know
Yes.
it can be filled.
Yes.
Is it filled?
Not
really
like emeralds.
Right.
It can be dyed.
Okay.
I mean, which kind of sorts, as a filler of sorts because it
Right.
seeps into the
A
cracks and
polymer.
everything. Right.
They use for that.
But yeah, so anything that's where the disclosure comes in with like the mystic topaz.
You want to help your jeweler. You don't want to be embarrassed by it. You want to help your jeweler. I mean, if you go to your dermatologist and don't point out that ugly growth on your skin and cover it up with a band-aid, you're not helping the dermatologist.
It's very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But speaking of filling, emeralds. Everyone calls it fracture filling or oiled. Emeralds are oiled, as they say, but it's actually a filling process, and that just helps to mask the air-filled, fractures inside the stone to give it a better appearance.
Yeah, that's come a long way, though.
Very much so.
I mean, in the 80s, they would use cedar wood oil under vacuum to do it, and that was not permanent.
No.
And the treatments today are not permanent,
but they're definitely more stable, longer lasting.
Right. But still, a jeweler's going to screw it up if he doesn't know.
Right. I mean, that's why most jewelers automatically assume that an emerald is going to be treated.
Yeah.
It just helps ease the pain or ease the chances of something bad happening when it's on the bench.
Yeah. Let's we're about the coatings. There's cubic zirconia out there that some people who we know are selling diamond coated cubic zirconia. I don't know what that is.
I'm not actually sure that it's possible, to be completely honest.
It's
because, and I thought about doing this, years ago, but when people are coating with diamond, that has to be just like when they do CVD diamonds, they have to create a plasma and the heat and the temperature and the atmosphere has to be just right to create vaporized carbon that will harden into diamond when it hits something. And
the CZ ain't going to last to that, is it?
I don't think so.
Yes.
And it's the diamond sticks to diamond, but I don't know. I doubt diamond can stick to cubic zirconia.
Yeah.
So I don't exactly know what these diamond coated.
Yeah, and let's say they could do it. It doesn't do anything.
It really doesn't. You're putting an expensive process on a valueless stone, in essence.
Right, but it's not going to enhance how it looks.
No.
It's not going to enhance the durability.
I mean, that it could. It could prevent some scratches, but
a microscopic coating?
Well, that's what I mean. Even a nanometer thick layer of diamond is still diamond. You still can't scratch it.
Yeah.
So, but I just don't see the point of it.
Honestly, if you scratch your CZ for $1, you could replace it.
Right.
Yeah. We know somebody real big in that game.
Yeah. Oh, and another stone that can be coated is diamonds. Forgot about that one. A lot of not a lot, but there are a lot of pink diamonds that have been treated for color are actually coated.
Is there different ways besides coating a diamond there's irradiation. You can irradiate to a color.
Yeah, that's another one of the treatments is irradiation.
Yeah. The problem with irradiation and diamonds, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you can't tell what color's coming out.
No. It's a complete luck of the draw.
Yeah, so you get an ugly diamond, an ugly color diamond, and you put it in there, and hopefully it's a better color.
Yeah.
Which it usually turns out to be blue.
Blue, black, green.
Yeah, we don't want black.
Well, so in the case of the black and the blue diamonds, some of the green ones, they're actually dual processed. They are irradiated to achieve the color, but most times they come out so dark it looks black. So they actually have to go through an annealing or a heating process to reduce the darkness in the stone and bring out the blues and the greens that make an attractive color. So, and blue topaz has been irradiated.
I like I said, we don't want to get into depth here, but the reason why blue topaz is so expensive is it has to sit for 2 years,
sometimes longer, a lot of times longer,
to cool down after the radiation, and you don't know what the market's going to be in 2 years.
Right.
So not a lot of people are doing it. You could buy aquamarine beads cheaper. You could never buy blue topaz beads.
I believe it.
Yeah.
But so there's sky blue topaz, which is the lightest of the blues, and it's being bombarded with, I think it was neutron radiation. Even that process to get the lightest shade of blue topaz is a year to 2 years.
Yeah.
London blues, like the rich, deep, darker blues, those could take 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, and there were always problems with some of the stuff being hot in the 80s.
Yeah.
And
Diamonds used to be irradiated, and those can still be radioactive.
Yeah, and
back in the 100 years ago, they were using radium salts. So
they loved their radiation back then.
I'm telling you.
Radium water, drink it up.
Yeah, so radium salt, and then the radioactive glow stuff they put on watches.
Yeah,
So
that's where the they would go crazy because they would lick the paintbrush and then paint the radium on. They go home, glow it. Oh,
I'm telling you. But
that Mad Hatter was from mercury in hats.
Yeah,
they would put the mercury, and then they would chew on the hats, and
apparently it tastes sweet.
I'll never gonna find out.
I'll take their word for it.
And cyanide smells like almonds. Yeah,
don't want to eat it.
Yeah, don't want to know that one.
But yeah, so and it still happens. It's not common, but on occasion, GIA will receive a blue diamond that was irradiated 100 and some years ago that is still too radioactive to be safe.
Yeah,
which sucks for the person that sent it in.
Yeah, we have a Geiger counter here because back in the 80s this was real problematic, and we were testing. It was problematic with gold also, that there was a radioactive gold isotope in doing X-rays, and somebody stole a whole load of it.
Interesting.
And it got into the gold. Yeah, that's a story. You have to Google that story. I think I was from the 80s also.
Sometimes I think I was born in the wrong decade.
Nah, we don't want to go back. We want to constantly go forward. We want to evolve forward, I hope.
No, I agree. But I was thinking of like all the gemstone stuff I missed out on because I wasn't born yet or I was too young to know. Like pottery of tourmaline.
Yeah, but if there wasn't Paraiba, would it be called Mozambique tourmaline? I mean, because Mozambique tourmaline looks,
well, Cuprian, but
yeah. So what would be the name? It'd be, I got to get some of that Mozambique tourmaline because nobody heard of Paraiba.
Yeah. But had I been born 10 years earlier, there may have been a chance I could have got in on the ground floor, so to speak.
Dave Freeland did.
Yeah,
he did big time for making his inlay jewelry. He used to seek that stuff out. So,
lasering.
That's all. That's kind of new technology, isn't it?
Fairly new. Yeah, I mean, it has to be because lasers weren't around 100 years ago.
And it's mostly diamonds that they're lasering.
A lot of diamonds.
And so what do they do?
So they will stick a diamond in this machine, and they will use a pinpoint laser to laser drill into the diamond to reach, let's say, like a carbon spot in the diamond, and that laser will vaporize that carbon and turn it from an ugly black inclusion to something that's much lower relief, so it may not be visible. So
it is a prettier stone, but now it's got this.
It's just like
it's got on the cert now says lasered,
right,
which diminishes value.
Yes, because it's still even though it's prettier, it's not more valuable because it's been treated.
Right. But now, does that leave a hole in it, or they can pinpoint it? Because I know they can pinpoint lasers now without.
Right. So that's the weird thing, and I still don't know the technology behind it. But there's traditional laser drilling, which actually puts a hole into the diamond.
Yeah.
And then there's this internal laser drilling, which leaves no hole on the surface of the diamond. Yeah. Which again, to me, this is mind-blowing.
Well, actually, I can explain it to you real easy. Laser beams need to be focused to a pinpoint, no different than taking a magnifying glass to the sun and then make sure you got a pinpoint in the paper to burn it. It's the paper's not going to burn above that pinpoint. It's not going to burn below that pinpoint. It's not going to do anything. It's going to hit at that pinpoint. So same thing like the laser over here. We have to go and focus that laser exactly where we want to do it. So it's only the focal part of that laser going through the diamond. That pinpoint is where it's going to hit. They do surgery the same way.
Interesting.
They have laser surgery that doesn't penetrate the body.
Really?
They could do it inside. They do laser cataract surgery. I don't think they're cutting your eyeball open for laser cataract surgery.
I guess it depends on the type of laser too, because I'm thinking about when you use a laser to start the diamond cutting process, where you laser like a part of the diamond off.
But if you put your hand through the front of that laser, ain't nothing going to happen to your hand because it's pinpointed That's where it is. If you did that with the laser that we have over here for engraving, if you put your hand through it at a different level of where it's concentrated, there's nothing.
Okay.
So it's got to be concentrated. It's so picky. I mean, you're like a tenth of a millimeter up or down before that thing will burn the metal.
Okay.
And lens cap. Sometimes I leave a lens cap on, rubber lens cap. It does nothing to it.
Right.
You turn that laser, it does nothing to the lens cap.
Oh, that's good.
So
That's fine. Oh,
And
yeah. So
kind of like glass, because the laser's got glass in the front of it.
Right.
It's not doing anything to the glass. That glass is focusing. That lens is focusing where it needs to go.
That's fair.
All right, so let's recap. We've got dye.
Mm-hmm.
We've got heat,
bleaching,
bleaching,
coating,
lasering,
irradiation,
diffusion
process.
Diffusion, yes.
Oh, diffusion. Where do we start? This has gotten a lot of people in trouble over the years. Basically, it's mainly in rubies and sapphires, the corundum family. Basically, you're taking the normal heat treating process where you take a handful of rough and you throw it in a crucible and you put it in this oven that heats it up to 1800, 2500 degrees. And you're adding, in the case of most sapphires, for blue sapphires, you're adding titanium, which is rutile. And that will creates this microscopically thin layer on the outside of the stone to turn a somewhat colorless sapphire into a nice blue color.
Right.
So you're enhancing the blue color by letting the titanium penetrate, micron or two into the stone to give a color.
And to see this, you need something with a high RI liquid. Drop it in the liquid, and then you can see the facet junctures.
Well, yeah, that's one way. Yeah. But,
cinnamic aldehyde. We used to actually sell cinnamic aldehyde. You know what's
I have never heard that in my life.
Okay, cinnamon oil.
Oh, okay.
It's concentrated cinnamon oil, nasty stuff, but it has a very high RI, and you could drop any sapphire in there and tell if it's diffused. Oh, cool. We used to sell it, but then I got sick of it. We buy a 50-gallon jug of it. You get it from a chemical supply house, gotcha. So you could pay $100 and then get like $25 for a little jar like that. Oh, wow. Very profitable, but it started, everything around us smelled like cinnamon oil. Okay. We had enough of that stuff.
So the titanium diffusion has been around for a long, long time. The more recent version of diffusion is beryllium, and that started in the 90s. I think it's gone back that far, 90s or 2000s. And they think that started by, again, the traditional heating process, in the crucible, in the oven with the heat up. But they think a piece of chrysoberyl or alexandrite got mixed in with one of the, in the crucible, and the beryllium leached out and got into all the sapphires and turned them these wild and crazy colors. Notably, podparasha. That gorgeous orangey pink, pinkish orange combination. And that screwed a bunch of people. I actually got caught up in that.
Yellow sapphires are beryllium.
Yeah, a lot of the new yellows have been beryllium diffused. They're warm, traditionally warmer colors. So the oranges, reds, yellows. But even now you can and the greens.
This is permanent.
Yes.
Yes. But disclose.
Yes, but even blues can be beryllium diffused, which surprised me. But that, because that can take let's say you have a 1 carat faceted, sapphire. Before the beryllium diffusion, it could have been this ugly, like muddy color. After the beryllium diffusion, it looks like a $10,000 podparasha.
Wow. Wow.
Yep. I actually, this was back, I think it was in the early 2000s, I think.
So it's different between a $10,000 stone if the paperwork,
right,
versus maybe a $500 stone.
If even that.
Yeah. With the beryllium.
But I bought it back in the early 2000s, I think it was. I bought a stunningly gorgeous orange sapphire. Paid a boatload of money for it. Turns out it was beryllium diffused.
Wow.
So I think I spent like $2,500 on this sapphire, and I ended up selling it for $450.
Yeah.
It hurt.
Yeah.
But I mean,
we don't learn unless we get hurt.
Well,
business.
but the thing is, had it been disclosed, nothing would have
Right.
been worse.
And you might have bought the stone, but not for that price.
Oh yeah,
But you might have bought the stone because it's a pretty.
it was a stunning sapphire.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was up here,
Yeah.
and it turns out because of non-disclosure, I lost $2,000.
Yeah.
So everything there was this glut of pod parashas that hit the market, and now we know why.
Yeah. Hey, and you guys that go on cruises,
Just
this is the biggest problem because they're not bound by the Federal Trade Commission. And a lot of jewelers don't even care about the Federal Trade Commission. You need to ask questions.
yes,
Generally, a jeweler will tell you without obfuscation
right.
what it is if you ask the right questions.
And that's why we do these videos. We want you guys to be informed.
Yeah.
Have the knowledge. If that's the biggest thing. Ask questions. If you don't,
Yes.
if you don't know, ask questions. If you have a doubt, ask a question.
Right. And if the jeweler you're asking gets taken aback by your questions, well, guess what? Move on.
Or give them a chance to explain.
Well, that's what. But I mean, if he gets taken aback by it,
But if he gets all defensive,
yeah, exactly.
then-
You don't want anybody to be defensive about that.
Right.
So, but down on the islands, not only will they not be defensive, but they will do puffery like you've never been puffered before. If you all know what puffery is,
Right.
So they will exaggerate.
They are there for one reason and one reason only, and that's to make money.
Yes,
They don't care about. Generally speaking, they don't care about long-term relationships. They want their money now, and you're going to be gone. So.
Yes, and you're going to not have recourse. There was the person I was just reading this that spent $15,000 for a diamond and got moissanite. Yeah, and then went back. They didn't know they got moissanite. They thought they got a great deal. Then they went back on a cruise to meet up with them to buy another piece of jewelry. But that piece of jewelry also had moissanite. They brought it back and had that appraised, found out it was moissanite, was able to cancel the credit card on that one. But they're stuck with the $15,000 moissanite that's probably not worth $150. That's worth less than a lab-grown diamond, and a lab-grown diamond is not worth a lot of money.
Right. Yeah, and that's why disclosure is so important, because you don't want to spend any amount of money. It doesn't matter if it's $10 or $10,000 on something, only to realize later that it's not what they said it was.
Get into a relationship with your local jeweler.
Yeah,
really. That's all. And have them, when they speak, listen. Don't think you know more than them, but don't think they know everything.
And as hardcore as I am in this business, I've been collecting and studying since I was 11. I still don't know everything. I learn new things every day.
Yes.
This is a very dynamic industry, and the fact that there's always something new.
Yeah, and then there's people out there that are really at the forefront of helping protect the industry from quackery in gemstones. New gemstone quackery, we'll call that.
Right. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, because there are things that come out that are maybe new that are not as they appear to be.
Right.
Yes.
And
go ahead.
I would say, and again, just like Kerry said, most jewelers don't know everything. If by some weird, turn of events, like, you buy something and they didn't disclose something, or they didn't say with an apatite, it needs special care because it's such a soft stone. They sell you a coated topaz. They didn't say, be very careful with it because this coating is not permanent. If you buy a lead glass filled ruby,
that's another one.
This is, again, it's another one of those special care disclosures.
That's another treatment, filling. We didn't talk about that.
Not that one.
Yes, lead filling, nor we've talked about Yehuda filling.
Yeah, the glass fill. Well, I mean, that goes with the emerald filler, but different stone.
Yeah.
Please don't automatically assume they did it with malicious intent. And just like Kerry said, jewelers don't know everything, but it's definitely go back, explain yourself, say this is what I found or what I think, and give them a chance to rectify the situation.
The jewelry store owner knows a lot. Their salesperson may know nothing.
Right.
And if they're commission based, they may even know less.
Yeah, they're not doctors. They're not required to have a degree in something to sell a piece of jewelry.
Yes, and a jeweler means many things.
It does.
Yes, a jeweler is
There's a dozen definitions for jeweler.
Yes, it could be the jewelry store owner.
Right.
It could be the person working, the benchman back there. and it could be the $10 an hour clerk
Right.
that is selling to you something that they have no idea what the heck they're selling to you.
Yeah.
They may consider themselves a jeweler.
But again, always ask questions.
Yes.
You know, if you have a question or an issue after the fact, please don't think automatically they did it to hurt you intentionally.
Correct.
So,
Correct. All right, we're going to close that up here, and we're going to tell you to subscribe. We're going to tell you to hit the
button,
notification.
yeah.
We're going to have to ring the bell to make a comment. Whatever. We have thick skin. You can make a comment. I don't care what you say. If I don't like it, I'm going to delete it anyhow. So all right.
But ask questions in the comments,
Yes.
and we will be making videos on the individual treatments and disclosures over the next little bit.
Yes. All right. You guys have a great day.
Take care, y'all.